If you were asked the following question, that you could live your life all over again, how many of us would say yes? How many of us would go back and redo our lives all over again? Well, my guess is very few of us would, unless we could go back and perhaps right all those things that were wrong. To go back to those missed opportunities, perhaps the house we should have bought, the shidduch we should have taken, the deal we should have done. To go back and say, I shouldn't have said what I said at that moment. I should have talked differently. I should have called my parents more. To right all those things that were wrong, then perhaps maybe we would go back. Well, if that's true with a person, an individual, how much more so with a nation? Nations that fall, that lives that get lost because of political agendas, because of ego, selfishness, because of an immoral dictator. How many deaths, destructions of wars could have been avoided? Well, the truth is, though, history marches on and lessons are not learned, except perhaps one nation that's risen and fallen. It's been unaffected by its prosperity, and it's also been untouched by its own ruin and destruction. Klal Yisrael continues to live and continues to move on. Why is that? This week's Parshas Massei, the last parsha in Sefer Bamidbar, it recounts the journeys of Klal Yisrael through the 40 years in the desert. And 42 times, unprecedented, the Torah says, V'yisu v'yichanu. The Klal Yisrael traveled, v'yichanu, and then they rested. And it talks about the next place, and the next place. And the parsha remembers each place and what had happened. Why is that? So Rashi brings a medrash, brings a mashal, a metaphor, that a king was traveling a far distance with his ailing son. To get him cured on the way back from the long journey, the king would point out to his son and say, Son, do you remember here? This is where we slept. And son, here, do you remember you were screeching from pain? And here we rested. And here we laughed. Do you remember each moment? Life doesn't need to be lived all over again. It's the same journey, but we need to stop v'isu on our journey, v'yechanu, and rest, and to think, and to be thoughtful, and reflect on what went right and what went wrong in those journeys, so that in the future we can correct those things. Tonight, Rosh Chodesh, in the Chodesh of Av, just the name Av, the 9 days. The word Av means the Rosh Chodesh of our Father, Av meaning a feeling of judgment. We know that the temples were destroyed on the 9th of Av by Rishon, by Sheni, over 2,000 years ago. It's the same journey, v'yechanu, but we rest now in the month of Av during these 9 days, and we don't have any wine or meat. There's no simchas. We don't get haircuts. We don't use freshly laundered clothes at the time of Avelis and mourning, and we remember the destruction of the temples. What happened? What went wrong? There has to be a v'yechanu, a serious resting now, a reflection, a mourning where we rest and think about the sinas chinam, the hatred of a Jew to other Jews, lashon hara. What divided our people? We have to remember these things and teach our children so that tomorrow, in the future, we can experience true redemption. We know that on Tisha B'Av, Mashiach is born. We also know that the first day of the night of Tisha B'Av is the same night as the first night of Pesach. Tisha B'Av, Mashiach, Pesach, redemption and freedom, the two are interconnected. Without a Tisha B'Av, there'll never be in a Mashiach, there'll never be a true freedom or redemption. The two are connected. But it's the same journey, v'isu v'yechanu, those lessons of the past we can teach our children so that we remember that that this time when we have Avelis on Yerushalayim, true Avelis will be zeicher for the redemption, and through that lessons that we learn, the chanu that we have these 9 days, we can correct that which was wrong. And next year, spend Tisha B'Av as a moed, as a simcha with Mashiach and the building of the Bayis Shlishi. Good Shabbos.